just over 700 commissioners, half elders and half ministers, some 170 young adults, ecumenical advisory delegates and seminary delegates all came together July 3rd to the 10th for the 219th General Assembly. They were from all across our country and indeed from around the world. And they came to Minneapolis to worship, to celebrate, and work as representatives of the Presbyterian Church, or to the Presbyterian Church in the United States of America. The Assembly officially convened at 1 o'clock on Saturday, and that evening we elected Cynthia Bolbach, the only elder among 6 candidates, to be our new moderator. After the nominations of the candidates and during a question and answer session, one of the commissioners asked what seemed to be a rather weird question, and that was, what do you think would be the consequences if you were not elected moderator? Cynthia seemed a little taken back by that, and she paused a second or two and then said with a twinkle in her eye, total chaos. That really brought the house down, and I think perhaps contributed to her being elected. She proved to be an excellent choice, guiding us as commissioners and advisory delegates with fairness, sensitivity, and delightful humor throughout the week's work. There were 2 grand experiences of worship during the week. The first was on Sunday morning when the Presbyterian churches of Minneapolis all came together with the Assembly commissioners in the Convention Center Arena in lieu of their individual church services. A 250-voice choir from the churches provided the music, and it was glorious. For the first time ever, a small child was baptized during the morning worship service. The retiring moderator, the Reverend Bruce Rees-Chow, speaking both candidly and hopefully about our denomination's future, gave us something to think about. Sunday was July the 4th, and that evening we celebrated like a family reunion on an island in the middle of the Mississippi River there in Minneapolis, the river that flows through the city, and watched the Minneapolis fireworks. It was a grand occasion to connect and reconnect with many Presbyterian friends that perhaps we had not seen for some time. The second great experience of worship, the ecumenical service, came on Wednesday morning in the beautiful Westminster Presbyterian Church, just a couple of blocks from the Convention Center. We were welcomed to that service by the former Vice President, Walter Mondale, who was a member of that congregation. Reverend Peg Chamberlain, a Moravian minister and the current president of the National Council of Churches, was the preacher and provided an inspiring message for us, reminding us that our unity is not anything that we do or do not do. Like families of origin, we associate with each other because we belong to each other, although we sometimes don't do it very happily. We come together, she said, because we're related. If you praise our Lord, if you call yourself a Christian, if you have been baptized in the waters of baptism, then you are a part of our body, and we are family. The Minnesota Boy Choir led the music for this service. Westminster Church is a marvelous example of a church ministering to its community. Part of its mission statement is to be a telling presence in the city. Its logo is a picture of an open door suggesting welcome to all who would enter and the going out of the congregation to serve. During the assembly each day, volunteers from that church provided a hot breakfast and a box lunch for commissioners and others who would like to come, and many did. From 12:30 to 1, Monday through Friday, there was a musical concert of various sorts in their chapel. There were a number of significant issues that came before this General Assembly, one of which was civil unions and Christian marriage. The 2008 Assembly had authorized the appointment of a special committee to study the matter and bring a report to this Assembly. The special committee, with members of widely varying opinions about the business of same-gender marriage, after a lengthy study of the history of marriage and much discussion, found that they simply could not come to a consensus. Their report to the assembly then was simply a report of their work and a recommendation to the church at large through sessions and presbyteries that they engage in a similar study using the resources that this special committee had gathered. A minority of the committee, however, felt that the assembly should be asked to reaffirm our existing position and understanding of marriage as being between one man and one woman, and they brought a minority report to that effect. At length, the assembly chose to adopt both reports and pass them on with recommendation to the presbyteries, sessions, and congregations of our church for study. By doing this, the assembly left unchanged the current definition of marriage and declined to adopt a number of overtures that called for replacing the wording one man and one woman with two people. Throughout the meeting that was interspersed with times of prayer, the debates were carried on with dignity, order, and respect for one another. Our moderator contributed to that, but there seemed to be a willingness to listen to one another and to seek the will of Christ in our decisions. In many ways, it seemed to me that it was Presbyterians at our best.